lead us all fearless
Let's do it,
leader,
boy.
Gabriel Raphael Conte.
Gabriel
Wow.
Conte,
That one was for
Gabriel
free.
Prompty.
I just
I
gave
won't-
you
I won't
this
charge for that one.
glorious intro, and you were like,
Yeah, you're welcome, everybody. Because, of course, Zach left that in. It was too beautiful to not cut out. So
Was it? Was
I
it?
love that
Maybe
was
it
the
was.
same.
I'll auto-tune it.
Zach's like, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that was the same for the audio.
That was the audio thing. Normally we do a clap. The burp was the audio thing. Oh my gosh.
I love how we can talk about like investing and we can talk about like self-help and looking after yourself, but like that's how we start a podcast. Like,
I also love that we pressed
You're welcome.
record before deciding on the prompt for this episode.
Listen, it's all in the moment.
It
It's
is.
just what's happening now.
That's
So
all right.
welcome back
Authentic.
to the Promptus Podcast, everybody. My name is Gabriel, and I'm ready to grow with you guys and learn with you guys today. And I'm here joined with my other co-hosts, Chad and Zach. Boys, how we doing?
We're doing well. Thank you for asking, Gabe.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
How about you, Zach?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
I've been
Bye,
doing
everyone.
Good. I've been doing it, yeah.
Good
I just want to do an
podcast.
Thanks
impression
for
of
listening
Zach
to that.
real quick. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this a lot better. But he basically was just like, I'm good. His head went up and laughed, and then he came right back down. You know what? I heard about
right.
something you just said about laughing at your own jokes. I saw this thing where it's just like, dang, I laugh at all my jokes. I am my target market. Like, I am my audience.
I am my demographic.
I am my demographic.
That's so funny.
I am rolling deep in the demographic right now.
So
1 second, my boys.
while
Oh.
Zach is going to check on that, we just want to encourage you to go over to promptthispodcast.com where you can submit your prompts. Because, y'all, we've gotten like hundreds and hundreds of these things. While we were on that, how long was the break?
It was like a few weeks, I think.
A few
maybe
weeks.
a month or so.
We got
Yeah.
like 600 prompts in there. And so we just, first off, we thank you for submitting them.
Thank you for being loyal and just sending in the prompts. We appreciate it.
Thanks for being lawyer and sending in the prompts. You know what I'm
Lawyer?
saying? Loyal. I've sounded Australian.
Yeah, there we go.
So go to promptuspodcast.com to submit your prompts. You can send an audio one. And if you happen to plug yourself, we won't be mad. I think it's kind of funny.
We won't be mad if you shout out your Instagram handle.
Yeah. But just keep in mind, if you shout yourself out, people may go try to find you. And that could be good or bad.
And they might roast you in the comments of your photos. So
Wait, can you imagine if someone's like, hey, I'm a 6'1" bro who just loves to live, laugh, and love. My Instagram's this. Can you do a topic of how to find the one? And then all these girls,
Oh my gosh.
all these girls are gonna go find this thing.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's like I'm actually like a part-time model and
yeah. I love it.
goodness. All right.
Zach Attack.
Zach is back. Is she hanging
Sorry,
out with
boys. Scouty's up here. My dog Scout's got a bit of ice. So if you hear any like glass breaking, it's just the ice that she's
you? Okay.
eating.
And she's joining us for this podcast.
She's joining us. She's pretty chill though. She was letting me know that my new camera was here, which if you listen to the last podcast,
Oh
I'm very
my
excited
word.
about.
That's so funny. We
Heck yes.
we
dude.
do just change our shirts in between recording.
Yeah. Well, dude, we should film this podcast in 360
In
video.
360. Dude, VR podcast. Honestly, if we were all together, I would be doing that.
No,
That
dude.
would be dope.
That was already a thing that, remember, we talked about this ages ago that we sit around a table.
Yeah.
It's 4 seats. One of the seats has a 360 camera on it, and then you can put a VR headset on
Yes.
and have a conversation together.
Yeah.
And like a VR. That would be so sick, dude.
That would be. Imagine hiring out a coffee shop. So like just like using a coffee shop for the morning and doing
Yo.
it there, so it felt like.
You're in. Wow.
So Zach, I already plugged
Yeah.
to go to the website and submit a prompt.
Heck yeah, dude.
So do you know what prompt we're actually doing for this episode?
Now what prompt are we doing, Chad?
Okay, I'll pick the prompt. Today's prompt is a good one, you all. It is what is/isn't appropriate to talk about on a first date. And this is sent in from Bethany from Ireland. And so
From Ireland.
from Ireland. Oh. Oh, that's why
That's your accent.
Oh. So what are your talents? So I can do a pretty good Irish accent. Oh yeah, do it. Oh.
All right. What is or isn't appropriate to say On what was it? On your first date?
On your first date. You should totally talk about your exes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do that.
And talk about all the baggage that you have
And how much money you make. Talk about that too.
What you have in savings.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
should probably
talk
give
about
them your social security.
Yeah, and
Okay.
tell
Well, you
them
don't have that in
which-
Ireland, so that one's off the table
yeah,
there.
which medications you're on. Yeah, Zach, you have any?
Oh, jeez. It's getting hectic. This is too much for the podcast.
You
Not
left
even
for
first
like
date.
3 minutes.
Oh my
The
god.
Fell
podcast burnt
apart.
down.
This is just the end. The last one
Oh my
we do.
God. This is it. But what's can I actually ask you guys though, because I can't remember what I talked about with Chelsea on our first dates, because we already knew each other for 3 years. Weird flex, but you're welcome. So I just wanted to know, when you guys were dating, what would be the
This
things
guy.
that you would talk about? Look, we out here marrying my best friend.
That was his Arnold Schwarzenegger
What?
impression.
We're out here.
Everybody, this is what you talk about on the first date.
Oh my gosh. All right, Chad, we need to chill out. It's getting late here while we're recording this, and we need to let Zach talk. What were you saying? You dated Chelsea for 3 years? Or no, you
No,
knew her
but
for 3 years, and
No, I just want to know, like, what would be the things when you guys were pursuing your wives, had your wives, when you were pursuing your wives, what did you talk about? What did you feel like was like, oh, this is the best thing to chat about with this person?
dude, I went all day one. I went in like, I was like, this is a girl from Australia. She's in town for like a little bit. Oh my gosh.
Bro,
my freaking
Gabe,
alarms during the
I didn't even interrupt you this time.
That's my alarm that literally says go to bed.
By the way,
When I'm
Zach
telling you it's
totally
late, I'm
laughed.
telling you I'm like, this is my bedtime right
Zach totally laughed at a sex joke that was like innuendoed, and he started laughing. Was that why you were laughing, Zach?
No.
Yes. Dude, yes, you are. Look at him. If you're watching YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. Gabe was just like, dude, on my first date, I went all in.
now. Oh
And
my
I'm-
gosh.
he started laughing.
We're talking about the conversation.
Stop.
We need to get, guys, we're like so far into this podcast already, and we haven't said crap. Legit. All right, I'm going. So Jess and I, on our first day, I was like, okay, this girl's Australian, and she's going back. I like didn't want to waste time with like hanging out with this girl for 3 weeks, and then like not really know. You know what I mean? Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna see. So I went in and we had like really good conversations, and it was like fun and stuff. But I actually did talk about like my last relationship and certain things like that, and just like kind of like what my view on marriage was and where I saw like dating in my quest for marriage, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And just kind of like talked about the things, not like going really deep into the story with my ex and, you know, all like that sort of stuff, but just kind of putting in, I don't know, like just having the conversation about my perspective on marriage and what I saw as the way I would pursue a relationship.
Yeah.
And not even with her. It was more like a conversation of like, oh, yo, how do you, like, what is your view on like dating and like dating towards marriage or whatever? Just like actually having a conversation about it rather than like, yo, if we're going to start doing this thing, because we were just grabbing lunch.
Yeah.
We never had a conversation about dating ever. So I wasn't going to go in there and talk about like, yo, so since we're, you know, kind of have the hots for each other right now, you know, lip bite kind of thing. Shout out here with the Bass Pro Shop hat.
No.
It's your hat.
Yeah, you took it. But you know what I mean? Like, I just, I went in just trying to have like a good conversation with her to kind of gauge where her headspace was. And it turned out great. Like, she literally told her mom that she was going to marry me after our first time hanging out.
Ballin'.
Freaking ballin'.
So
Prophetic.
cute,
I said prophetic, not pathetic, by the way. It kind of sounded the other way.
You pathetic.
No. Prophetic. Sorry.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I like that because not a lot of people have like the confidence to do that. And I get that. Like, you know, when Tori and we had our first, I thought it was a date. She didn't think it was a date, but that's, you know, you can go watch the video
classic
and
misunderstanding.
decide classic, right? But we talked about some serious stuff. We talked about our faith. We talked about things we're passionate about, but we also left room for like, you know, not very serious topics. Just that way you can kind of get to know the person a little bit better. And if it's cool with y'all, I actually have a list of questions that you could ask somebody on a first date if
Let's
you are down.
go.
Ooh,
Give him
let's
the
go.
practical stuff,
do
Oh,
baby.
you want-
practical.
You want me to just
Oh my
work through this bad
gosh.
boy, or do you want me to pick one and if you guys want to say anything about it and then go from there?
Just, dude, work through it.
Work through
Start from top to bottom. How many points do you have? And we have to make sure we go out of order.
it. Dude, I'm so bad at that. I'm so
We
bad
got to
at
bring
that.
it full
Starting with
circle.
tip number 7.
Okay, so what do you think about this question? So what have you been learning lately?
Whoa.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Because
I
if they
couldn't
say
even answer that.
nothing,
You could narrow it. If you know the person a little better, you could probably narrow it down with like,
what's Yeah.
what have you been learning? And if you know they're like
Mhm.
really into photography and they're getting a photography major, you can like ask them specifically about that.
Yeah.
So it starts like a good conversation.
yeah.
Or if they're like Chad, you were in seminary.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, what is the like top 3 best things
Yeah.
that you like about seminary?
Yeah,
you know?
cool.
Yeah.
And another one is what's
How's your Christian
something
ethics going?
How's your walk in purity going? Kidding. So here's another one. I do like this question a lot. What's something about you I wouldn't guess right away?
Oh wow.
That's a fun question.
that's good.
She's a gamer.
She's a gamer. You know, a lot of people wouldn't guess that I'm obsessed with anime,
Mm.
right? Like I started learning Japanese because I first off, if you're an anime fan, you know this. You never watch the dubbed version. You watch the subbed version, right? So I'm just reading the subtitles instead of listening to this dubbed voice that doesn't work. But I started learning like konnichiwa, watashi wa cha desu. Like that's, you know, I started actually learning this because I'm so passionate about it. But people wouldn't look at me, see Scout. People wouldn't look at me and think like, oh yeah, this guy loves Naruto. This guy loves Rurouni Kenshin. Anyways, next question.
I like that.
Do you have any dream travel destinations?
Mm.
And remember, these are
Dude, that's actually
travel's a good
really
one, man.
that actually is really good because I feel like most people would say like, oh yeah, I want to travel, whatever. But there's people out there that like literally don't care about traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's something that's like heavy on your
Mm.
bucket list and
Sure.
you don't, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I want to travel with my
Mm-hmm.
husband one day and go to a bunch of places around the world. And that person just doesn't
Yeah.
really care about traveling.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough one to deal with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, these are a great way for you to get to know the person. But if you look like what's underneath the answer, just what you're saying, you can perceive a lot.
Yeah. Just
about them.
aligning on things together.
Yeah.
Mm.
And another one is tell me about one of your favorite days that you've had.
Wow.
I think that's fire.
You're on a
That's
first
good.
date with someone. It's like, tell
That's
me about one
awesome.
of your favorite days that you had. And you're like, oh,
This one.
the day I got married.
The day. Oh my gosh, Lord.
When I had my
I-
triplets.
You know, and there's
Oh
another
my
simple one,
gosh.
which is, what do you like to do for fun? That's one. Because I think it's important on
Yeah, I
a
like
first
that one.
date to get people talking about things they're excited about. You know, people
Mm-hmm.
don't like to talk about the news, right? It's just depressing.
So what was that last one you just said?
What do you like to do for fun?
What do you like to do F1?
Oh my, it's very
No,
close. And I
that's-
received that. I received that. If that joke were not about F1, I would say it's lame. But I thought that joke was pretty F1.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry.
I think it really
bad.
added to the podcast.
Put a
Next
let's
question.
go. Oh my gosh.
This is actually kind of a set of questions, and we love these because, you know, it's tell me some of your favorite books or TV shows or movies, and of course, don't ask like that, like it's an interview, but just say, hey, have you read any good books that you love lately, or the same for TV shows and movies? Because again, people love to talk about things that they love, and they love to share the things that they love. So have some of yours prepared to answer too, because they're likely going to ask you the same question back, and
What about you?
yeah, and if they don't ask that, then that could be a sign that maybe they're not as interested in learning more about you. This is one that I thought was really thoughtful.
Which is a sign that
Yep.
they're selfish.
They're not the one. I
Just like throw
Sorry.
them under the.
They
So-
just
Rip the
trash
carpet
you.
out from under them.
Here's another one.
They're selfish and not interested, and don't waste your time.
Don't waste your time. You know, and I do want to just say that if someone wants to be with you, they will move things in their life to be with you.
Yeah.
You don't need to be someone's second
Cool.
option.
Let's go, dude.
All right.
Freaking
Okay.
preach it.
Sheesh.
Next one.
Sheesh.
Okay, the best part. I can't do the best part.
I was just about to say you
yeah.
should do it.
Tell me a bit about your family and who has been influential in your life.
Mm.
Isn't that I think that's so thoughtfully good.
Yeah, that's really good.
You know, because then you get to hear about their family dynamics, and then oh, this person doesn't have the best history with their father. Don't talk about that. You know what I mean? Like, another one is, where are you from and what was it like growing up there? Now, of course, work these in the conversation in a natural way. Don't like check off these lists on your phone. But now my favorite.
You come in with a notepad. You're just like, okay. And then you're taking notes on their answers.
And you'll likely ask one of these questions and you'll talk on it for 15, 20 minutes and not even make it to another one. Who knows? But,
yeah.
But this is my favorite kind of conversation starter. By the way, Tori and I did a video on this, so I'm sorry. That's why I have all these notes on my phone.
Sure. I was about to say, I was like, dude, you did not just write that down in like 30 seconds.
No, yeah. So we did a whole series on dating. I'll tell you, it was actually, I'm not trying to plug our YouTube channel, but I posted this thing.
It was way better than this podcast.
No.
But it is.
So I posted this thing about people to post their bad date experiences. And the amount of people
that's
who've never had a first date blew my mind. And I'm not throwing shade at all. There is an overwhelming amount of people that's like, I'm still waiting on a first date.
No way.
And so that's when Tori and I were like, we need to do a series on dating. That way people can learn different things and that way they feel confident. Anyways, that's why we started. That's why I have these questions.
That's really cool.
But this one is actually between you and Zach. This is one of my favorite things. This is when you're a little bit more comfortable with the person, but you play
between Zach and I's first date?
Yep. So this is this is live right now.
I
Do
remember
word association. You know what that is?
Oh my gosh.
This
yes.
is so fun.
Wait, is it the game where you say a word at the same time?
Oh no, you say a word, then he has to say something that comes to mind that kind of plays off of that a little bit. Then you do, and then he does, and you see how far you can go.
All right.
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
I'm lighting a candle
There we
right
go.
now.
Gonna...
All right, who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right, go.
Legos.
Star Wars.
Mandalorian.
Boba Fett.
Baby Yoda.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Jedi.
Saber.
Light.
Jesus.
The cross. Wait, no, dude. Have you
Salvation.
not played the really fun version of that game?
Okay, I thought that was fun.
No.
The
But
really fun.
take me to the really fun version.
played the way
No. This
better
one is way
version
better.
of this
Okay,
game?
Chad, me and you were playing this. Guys, do this at home. This is one of the funnest freaking games. I would do this for hours with like Seb and Jess.
I think I have played this game.
Okay,
now that
ready?
you're thinking about it.
Chad, look at me and just say the first word on 3 that comes to your mind, and we both say a word at the same time, and we take in what each other says, and we count down to 3 again, and we keep trying to get closer and closer to get to the same word.
Wow.
All right? Ready?
3,
2, 1.
Peanut butter.
Podcast. Okay. Podcast and peanut butter. All right. Ready?
3, 2, 1.
Snack.
Podbean.
Podbean?
Podbean is like a host of podcasts.
Okay. This guy.
Because bean, it's like a nut, right?
Yeah, okay.
You said podcast. I said Podbean. I'm
I
coming
said
your way.
snack?
Snack.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Protein
Green
shake.
beans. Green beans and protein shake. All right. Ready?
Dude, getting close.
Green beans
gosh.
and protein shake.
You ready? Okay. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Health.
Healthy. Oh, we did it! How did we get there?
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's why it's
was
so good.
You're right. That was a lot more fun.
That's
Oh my
way.
gosh.
Oh wow.
Oh, my hand hurt from that.
Wow,
high
that's
five.
a
that
rush.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
You have a right now.
You can't say that. Zach, bleep that out. You can't say that.
I'm just going to have a bleep noise.
I had to do it.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
We're just too excited. Oh my gosh. Oh, the dogs are here. All the dogs. My, come here.
All the dogs, that's my wife.
Oh, what's up,
okay?
dog? No, it's talking about Milo. Oh my gosh. I
my
think, guys,
wife.
I think we need to cut to an ad break. Like, I didn't have a good segue for it. We just need to do it.
Okay.
All right. Chill.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen,
gosh, I'm so
that's
sorry, guys.
that's the word association game. It's fun because it's interactive. It's a fun thing to do, And it's a way for you to connect with somebody and have just a fun conversation because, you know, dating should be fun. It's like, I love the whole intense part of it in terms of like, hey, I date for marriage, right? I think all three of us feel that way. And so for me, I also am like, okay, I'm dating for marriage. These are my dating boundaries right here. But also, you want to play word association with me?
No, legit though. That's like friendships are not like, there's like the really deep parts, and that's part of why we started this podcast, right? Because like we have so much fun together, but like the stupid little whatever conversations that we have that are like kind of dumb and pointless, like, oh, we talk about F1 or Legos or whatever, all of a sudden lead
How
into
dare
these.
you? That is not pointless.
That is the most meaningful thing.
Bro, over half of y'all's word association was Star Wars.
I know that he transitioned it to Jesus though, so
we
like
do.
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah,
anyway,
pretty quick.
that
No, but you're so right.
all those types of conversations turn just like randomly can turn into these really fruitful, meaningful discussions, and kind of having that in a relationship as well, being able to like connect on all those levels of like stupid, silly, we just have fun together and laugh together and we live, laugh, love together, you know? But then also like being able to be serious and have those deep conversations and stuff like that.
That's right. Dude, Chad, when you were listing all those things, I feel like, yo, I need to do these more with Chelsea, because even just like the word association game is like, you know, we might be sitting at a coffee shop and you don't always have to be talking, but sometimes it's nice to just talk about nothing. In the same way, and exactly what you said, Gabe, like it's nice to dive in deep. And I'm a sucker at this. I'm like, Chelsea, let's talk about finances and let's talk about like, what are you going to do for work next? And it's like, but also I know that for Chelsea and I's friendship as a married couple, we need to just have those silly moments as well. It's not just about the grind or crushing it. So anyway, I just love that. Do you boys have some things that you recommend not to do on a date? Because I fully recommend not. No, I just, there's a lot of things I don't recommend, but I want to know what you don't recommend.
Yeah.
Well, Chad has a list for that. So.
I do. I have a 4 bullet point list.
So let's start at number 5.
I'm going to check it twice. I'm going to find out who's been dating or not. Okay.
Ooh.
Sorry. All right. So okay, here's your first one.
Chad Masters is coming to town.
To a podcast near you.
Why is that so seedy?
So I'm just going to work.
He sees you when you're dating.
That's kind of creepy.
He knows when you're playing the word association game.
Okay. So there's like 4 main don'ts that I recommend. The first one is really obvious. Is don't be on your phone. Just don't do it. Put it on silent. Put it in your pocket or in a bag, or leave it in the car.
Put it face down on the table if you have it with you.
There's no real. If this is a first date, or even even date night for Tori and I, like why do we have our phones? We're there to connect with this person, and what we're saying whenever we put our phone on the table or we have it available to us is like, hey, your time's important to me unless this goes off.
Oh.
I just want you to know that your time's important unless this goes off. So check that out.
Dang.
Next one is
dang, dude.
You don't need to talk about controversial topics. We all have amazing thoughts and opinions on these things, but as you're getting to know somebody, like you don't need to talk about super sensitive things because you don't know everything about them, and it could really rub someone the wrong way before they actually know your heart. If someone knows your opinions before they know your heart, that's not a good look. Dang, that was a soundbite if I've ever heard one.
This guy.
Another one is
he's wowing himself.
Freaking wow, dog. Another one is don't talk about your past relationships until you're ready. But Tori and I have talked about our past relationships, and there's been a lot of healing in that, but we didn't do it right away. I mean, and you especially don't want to talk bad about them, because what good does that do for anybody to just, oh yeah, that person, they sucked. You know what I mean? Like, of course, if someone hurts you, that hurt, right? But it's not going to help anything, to speak ill of that person. So we really recommend, here, I actually wrote this down.
So when do you think is a good time to talk about past relationships as far as like the stages of?
Yeah. I think it's, well, number one, I think it's important to talk about it at a healthy time. There's been times where I was traveling for work, right? And I land from an airplane at like 11 p.m. And then I called Tori as I'm getting to the hotel. And then a topic comes up. I'm exhausted from traveling. She's tired, whatever. and then we're getting ready for bed, and then we bring up the topic of like a past relationship, that's not a good time to talk about your past relationships, because you're likely gonna be more emotional, you're tired, you're cranky, whatever. So make sure that you create like a healthy space to bring up sensitive topics, because it can be hard to talk about your past, especially if you have one that's like mine or like Tori's, where it's not just like the easiest thing to talk about, like your history, Now, granted, your past is a part of your history. That's why it's called his story. So this is something that is a part of us, but it needs to be done in a controlled atmosphere for sure, because it can make people's brains go a little wild. And so for me, I would really encourage you to be with this person for a few months before you start bringing that stuff up. What do you think?
Interesting. I don't know if I would recommend being with a person for that long of a period of time before.
Yeah, before that comes up.
Yeah, because like if you're spending multiple months with someone and then all of a sudden there's like this crazy thing that happens that you're like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't have gotten into this if I knew that. Or not that you'd be judging them by their past or whatever, but there could be like something you don't know. Everyone's story is different. Everyone's situation is different. But like, I think being transparent and honest as close to the front as possible in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Because like a few months is like you're deep in a relationship.
Well, I mean, you were, but a lot of people don't date as fast as we did.
That's true. That's true.
And so you get,
I guess it depends on the,
in perspective of like our audience, I mean, there's people that do life with Tori and I date for a few years. And so in like that kind of
but
spectrum,
even still though, that like that's a I'm not saying that that's not a long time to them. Like a few years is a few years. You know what I mean? But a few months not knowing something and still investing a lot of that time. Like a few months is still a long time.
It also depends on how often you hang out too. Because if you're only hanging out once a month, a few months is
then it's
what I mean? So it's really about your frequency of connecting with each other. Where if you're hanging out all day, every day, it's going to come up in about a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
But if it's something that you only get to see each other on weekends when someone's like in town, then it may take a little longer. So I think it's just make sure that you're emotionally connected enough to receive each other's
baggage,
past and baggage well, rather than it scare you off. It's like, oh, okay, I've spent enough time to get to know this person's heart. That way I can receive this person's stuff without judgment or without fear, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's actually really good.
Yeah, because I agree with you. Because I mean, Tori and I were also on the speed dating thing too. I mean, we moved pretty quick, but you moved really fast,
dude. Well, I was just trying to not do long distance for another year.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, facts.
And then
can I add to that real quick?
No.
You're the tech guy. You're the flipping tech guy, Zach.
Yeah, no worries. No, you're right.
Yes,
you're right. No,
yeah, that makes sense.
I'll get back to
it. Come on, Zach.
Yeah, fair enough. It was just like an immediate no, and I was like, cool.
No, it's because you were asking, like, can I add? Or it's like, dude, this is your podcast.
Oh no, it's the delay.
So
I just
funny.
didn't want to jump in.
Okay.
Anyway, what I was gonna say, and what I was gonna add. Do we need to put an ad here? I think it's important what you guys are saying, because it's something that I think people don't talk about a lot, which is like how vulnerable you are with new people, and even outside the scope of dating. Like, how vulnerable are you with people? And I found for myself that I used to be, as a younger person, I'm pretty young now, but when I was a teenager and I was like dating, or I was like, oh, I was getting to know girls or whatever, it was like I was so vulnerable because it defined me. The things that damaged me defined me publicly and outwardly. And I think it's just something to be aware of, like, is what you're telling a person because it's something that's you're still journeying through, that you're still trying to deal with, or are you telling them because you're like, hey, this is where I'm at and I'm past it, or I'm working towards it. I just think those things really help give context when you do talk about those things. Because I know for me, like, it didn't take long for me to tell Chelsea, like, oh, I had a really, like, my parents got divorced, and my relationship with like dating is really kind of like rocky, and I'm trying to work that out. But that didn't happen for a few weeks because I was like, I'm still working through this. So I don't know. I just feel like I wanted to add that, because it's like, if you're the person who wants to share that, it's just about asking where you're at with it before you tell that person. Are you comfortable with telling that person that? And how detrimental will it be on a relationship if you don't tell them for a year? I think there was that thing you said,
Yeah.
Gabe, about student loan debt. Imagine not telling someone for 3 years and then you get married. Like, by the way, here's my 80K of debt. Obviously, you never want that to happen. That sounds awful. But in the same way, it's like, hey, should you be getting married? You know, someone cheated on you before? Should you be thinking about getting married next week? Or do you still have things to kind of process and deal with? I just think those, if you're on the other end where you're about to talk about it, asking yourself those questions, I just think are really important.
Yeah, I like that. It feels like there's a big difference between being vulnerable and being transparent. Like you can be transparent early in a relationship without being super vulnerable and inviting that person into what you're working through, which is a good thing to be transparent because it is. I love Tori and each other's passwords, whatever. Like where transparency is like key to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
But you can also not be vulnerable if that person isn't ready to speak into situations or help you with those situations or whatever it may be. And so I do think it's a good tip to definitely be transparent on things, but that doesn't mean that you need to open yourself up, like open the wound. You know what I mean? If you're still processing and healing.
I mean, I think it goes back
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to, I mean, I mentioned before, like when Jess and I had the conversation, we weren't talking about it as if we were going to date. We were just having a conversation about it.
Dating.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Dating.
Exactly.
About our view on marriage.
Yes.
And that was just like, I just wanted to know her view on it.
Yeah.
Obviously with the mindset of like, do we align? But I'm not having the conversation of like, I need you to help me work through my pain of my previous relationship and like pulling her into this position of relationship. But we were just having the conversation about what's your view on marriage? This is my view on marriage. Yeah. I actually had this happen in the past and you know, I have some baggage, I guess. I mean, even in the conversation though, I probably didn't word it as that. I was like, yeah, I kind of have like some trust issues with stuff because I, you know, had this past experience, but it was just from a kind of like a friend to friend point of view where we're just having a conversation about it rather than pulling each other into each other's baggage. You know?
I love that because, you know, I'm with you. I remember whenever Tori and I really first started, like, this is like, okay, we're starting to date. I was like, I need to tell her about my past with pornography. I got to tell her. And I contacted some friends, which by the way, I love these guys, but they were like, you're not even officially dating yet. And you're about to just like put that on the table, you know? But I remember calling her and I was like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. I was walking around remember my old townhome in Los Angeles? Yeah. I was walking around nervous, anxious, pacing, all this stuff. And I said, hey, I just want you to know that in the past I've struggled with pornography but I just want you to know that this is just it's a piece of me, but it doesn't define me. And so I just want you to know that I am working on this. I have accountability. I have this. I want you to know that I want to be transparent about this, but I didn't invite her into like the solution part of it. Right?
Yes.
But it was good for her.
You're not putting the weight on her. You're just making her aware of the situation and information.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess as we get ready to close out, I have one more tip if that's helpful.
Dude, lay it on us.
The tip is don't have expectations of who you want this person to be. Now, you can have hopes and everything, but if you start expecting this person to react and respond to every single thing you say or do in a certain way, you're just trying to make them in your own image. You're not allowing them to be who they are and how God's made them perfectly in his image, not your own image.
You're also approaching that relationship to serve you rather than you to serve them.
And we all know how Gabe feels about expectations.
Don't get me started. Don't get me freaking started, bro.
I mentioned the word expectations and he visibly
I'm like cringing.
His lip like quivered. He was like,
I'm like, Yo, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for watching this episode of Prompt Us. Make sure to go to promptuspodcast.com to submit your own prompts, and we will see you in the next one.